Hello friends! In the video for June 2022, we will talk about lunar activity, important aspects and transits of the planets, and how these events will affect us as a collective and as individuals. In the middle part of the video, I will talk about how Mars and Jupiter in June affect all of the signs of the zodiac. I know that many of you want to talk about personal horoscopes, so let's talk about them. Remember, please, that these videos are just an inspiration for you. It is not good to take literally what I'm talking about, but it is better to understand this in a symbolic way. So lunar activity. On June 14, it is going to be the full moon in Sagittarius, and June 29 is the new moon in Cancer, better to say Crab. From the important transits, let's mention that the Sun is in Gemini until the 21st, and after that it's in Crab. Mercury is direct from the June the 3rd, but emerges from its shadow only on June 19. So it is now better to trade, better time for that, to trade, to communicate, to sign some contracts, to buy things. But it is even better after the June 19. Venus is in Taurus until the 23rd, and then it's in Gemini. So Venus in strong position almost all month, except for the last week. And Mars is in Aries all month, where Jupiter is also, although they do not meet at the same degree. And the most important event in this month is Saturn is retrograde. It will be retrograde from the 5th of June, but we will not feel it immediately, maybe only 2 or 3 weeks after that something is really changing. And on the June the 1st is summer solstice, and we will say about that something at the end of the video. From the most important aspects, I will mention the Mercury Pluto Trine, which will happen on the June the 10th. That is a quite good day for the trade, for business, and for people who speak publicly and need power in their communication. This is Pluto gives power to Mercury that day. It is also quite strong June 16 when Sun will trine Saturn. It is very good day for business things. It is a quite serious day, and the day when many truths will come out. Then Venus in the strong position this month makes a lot of aspects, and many of those aspects are really significant. On June 11, Venus will make conjunction with Uranus, which will be close to the full moon. We will talk about that later. It's a surprising event. It can bring some surprising events. Then on the June 18, Venus square Saturn. This is not the best aspect of Venus. It makes trouble in business with money, restricts pleasures, questions partnership and so on. But after that, on June 19, June 21st and June 28, Venus will have those aspects that we say harmonious or positive aspects. So on June 19, Venus makes sextile to Neptune, which is fantastic for people who are involved in arts, in design, music, and these kind of things. It's very romantic also. That's very romantic aspect. Then on June 21st, Venus trines Pluto, quite good for money, but also this energy brings some desires, sexual desires, or any kind of desires, very strong desires. On June 29, Venus makes sextile to Jupiter, which could be understood as the lucky day, if you wish. Things happen easily that day. We said that Mars is in Aries, so in very strong position also, as the same as Venus. But it's interesting that Mars does not make many aspects in June. It is kind of lonely warrior here. Uh, it will make two, let's say, important aspects. On June 15, Mars will conjunct Chiron, which is in Aries. And on June 27, Mars will sextile Saturn. Positively understood, Chiron and Saturn are wise and old, while Mars is quite young energy. So this is like, try to imagine this energy as that young warrior, which is full of strength and wants to fight, discusses with old and wise astrologer, Chiron, or old and wise man, which is Saturn. And they communicate well. So this is quite good combination, actually, for those who fight and those who are involved in some military actions that we have a lot in today's time. So maybe this is preparing this war, any war that is held on now today in world, to stop. We will see. The full moon in Sagittarius says that Sagittarius people are completing a 6-month cycle. Now they are experiencing some sort of culmination. Maybe they will work hard to finish something or just feel that the end is coming. The ruler of this full moon is Jupiter, which is the planet of happiness and success. So people can be very optimistic at this time. This is a great position for students because they can make good exams and they can be successful at their exams or even learn truthful things. Many of us will gain truthful knowledge around this full moon. The ruler of Jupiter is going to be in Aries around the full moon, which is also very optimistic and enthusiastic energy. At the time of the full moon, the conjunction of Uranus and Venus is weaker, but it is still present. So we said that Venus has been in a strong position in Taurus almost for the whole month, which is always a good sign, but aspect with Uranus brings some unexpected expenses, unexpected changes, maybe in diplomacy or in relationship generally. Unexpected things can change everything for better or for worse. It's hard to guess what really can be. I would say here that it will be for better. I think that this combination is going to be very good for all of us. The Sun and the Moon will have difficult aspect to Neptune also around the full moon. And we said that one of the bad sides of Neptune in Pisces is that it brings this collective hysteria. Will it bring now also? The question can be, well, possibly yes. But I don't know what that can be exactly. Some hysteria because there is lack of food or because things are getting expensive, or will be some new madness because of the new disease and so on. Whatever it will be, it could be unrestricted in a moment, but still short-lived. So let's see. However, Venus in a strong position provides material security, And many will feel actually secure because this is one of the aspects of the abundance. The Earth sign will especially feel that. These are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. With the exception of the mentioned days when Venus will have critical aspects, other days people can trade, enjoy the sensual pleasures, and attract beautiful things in life. All that Venus symbolizes. Then is going to be the new moon in Crab at the 7th degree, as we said. And this is quite a critical one because it is in conjunction with Lilith, the black moon as we call it, and it is square to Jupiter, which is one of the symbols of children. So, new moon in Crab, the Crab itself, Lilith, and Jupiter, they all have something with mother energy and children. Lilith in a negative way, others are just the significators of this. Unfortunately, These constellations suggest that children or mothers or families may be at risk for the next 6 months. And maybe you have heard that they are preparing to attack children through new disease. If this constellation really symbolizes that, then we really need to take serious care of our children. I heard German Minister of Health saying that they are going to do the exercise, but a very realistic exercise in which a pandemic of smallpox would develop from a leopard bite. Can you imagine that? That the minister says. So, of course, I hope you understand that I'm ironic here. You can find this video on the internet. I don't think it's like a joke. It looks very, very real. So before it was the bat, and now it's leopard, the animal. Because, of course, there is a reason why leopard, because they are creating this in Africa now. So they are even now saying loudly what they are preparing to do. And many still don't seem to hear. So how is it possible that there are so many people who still do not know what is happening? One answer could be that those people do not know the system they live in. When one knows the system, then every event comes into its own. It is like if you know Chinese medicine, then you know that holistic approach of this medicine, and then you know that there are 5 elements, and everything that happens you put in the right place because each phenomenon belongs to each element. But people who still look very naive about this, what is happening in the world, are destroyed, let's say, by a fragmented outlook of life. Of course, that's not the only reason, but this can be one reason. I don't think that this is bad. I don't criticize anyone, but I'm very surprised with this. It lasts too long already. By the way, people who have planets in the sign of Crab, especially if they have planets in the first degrees of this sign, will be very sensitive in the next 6 months, and they should be aware of their negative feelings. It may be a good time to review relationship with children or with family. Every energy is useful for something. Pardon. We said that Mars is in Aries for a whole month, where he is in domicile and where he acts like a real warrior or even a military leader, conqueror, fighter, and missionary. Jupiter has been in Aries since May also. So fights will increase or intensify now until, let's say, until the 23rd of June or something like that. There is a great struggle in the world. We don't know much about it because they're not telling us. We don't know exactly what is happening because they use media only for propaganda. But the struggle is extremely strong. Sorry about this. In June, we will all be very active or argumentative, especially in the era of life where Aries is in our horoscopes. So to listen to this, what I'm talking further on about, you need to know your horoscope and you need to know where Aries is in your natal chart. So during the June, the 2 planets will be visiting this area of your life, and things will really happen very fast there. And this actually is valid, what I'm going to talk about, not only in June. In June, in Aries, there are going to be Mars and Jupiter. But Jupiter will be in this era of life of yours, a big part of this year, and also big part of next year. So this is valid not only for June, but for all of those months when Jupiter will be in Aries. Just you will feel these things happening here in June more intensively. And in other months when Jupiter will be there alone, it will not be so intense. So let's now say something for each sign of the zodiac. Aries people will be full of energy, of course, with those two planets there. Many will fight, or will be very determined to achieve something or conquer something or someone. Could that be a beautiful woman or a territory? It depends on the type of Aries. Jupiter here gives faith in success and encourages men to take the initiative. They will be great inspiration for others, but they must not be too aggressive. This is very male energy, so female people, female who have this now combination, maybe will not really know what to do with this. It is too much for a woman, but it is very, very male energy, and it's good for those who are full of like enthusiasm to do something new. Taurus will have Jupiter and Mars in the 12th house, and they can feel frustration because in this era Mars cannot manifest freely. It can bring hidden desires, a lot of desires, suppresses, and can bring some suppressive energy, or the energy have to be suppressed because some action will be blocked. So Taurus can be very frustrated because of these blockages. Properly understood, Jupiter in the 12th house brings faith in the meaning of all of the things. So people with this feel very good because everything is fine. I just let it be. It is okay. But Mars here can make a man to lose nerve and to have a desire to speed these internal processes, which is not possible. So he will be maybe increasing this energy. He will unnecessarily wish to be faster, which is not possible. So it's better to relax a little bit with this aspect. Gemini will have active the 11th house. Quarrels with friends are possible, or some active participation in joint demonstrations. There are many demonstrations in the world now, and the some doing things together with others. Or maybe they will work on a long-term projects with a lot of enthusiasm. From the point of view of astropsychology, poorly integrated energy here brings the feeling that the person has nothing to give to others, so he struggles to show that he is superior to them, which is unnecessary compensation for his inner frustration. Crabs have active the 10th house, which is a great opportunity to impose themselves on others as authorities, or to engage a lot in achieving their goals, like business goals or any life goals. Major conflicts with authorities are also possible. Or maybe crabs will struggle with some legal rules adopted by society, like they will not want to accept them, they will fight against them. This can be a good time to show themselves to public. If crabs are somehow known or they wish to be known to public, it is a good time for that. Of course, if they are confident enough. Leos will have active the 9th astrological house, so they can learn a lot. They can learn with a lot of enthusiasm or invest a lot of energy in travel, or maybe they will be engaged with foreigners. This is an ideal transit for intellectual engagement and publishing. One should not be afraid of philosophy and sharing one's own ideas with others, but one should not force others to think as he thinks. That could be the message of these two planets in the ninth house, It is good to have one's ideas, but not to force others to accept those ideas or those maybe even moral rules, because Leo would think that what they think it is the best for everybody. Virgos will have Mars and Jupiter in the 8th house. When Jupiter is left there alone after June and early July, Virgos can expect financial success or some transformation through a relationship with another person, or maybe some change through money or through some investment. However, where Mars is here, they should be very careful not to make hasty decisions and not to take too many risks. But of course, the 8th house is the Scorpio house, and people accept risks here because we need to feel when we have planets here. We need some challenges, and we want to experience something extreme. So maybe many will risk with money, for example, or maybe in relationship, especially intimate relationship. In a negative sense, this constellation imparts obsessive control. So be aware of that. Libra people has this constellation in the 7th house. And this is the era of partnership, contracts, public life, marriage. So many will actively participate in public events. They will also be quite visible. Or many will deal with their married partner or with any other partner. Here it is important to let others to express their views. It is also good not to be afraid of the initiative of others and to accept challenges without fear of conflict with others. If Libras are not ready for that, this will lead them to isolation. So things have to be solved maybe there, maybe in marriage, and it's good to let others to express themselves without fear. Scorpio has very active here era of work. This is the second field, the second house, astrological. It is possible that they will spend a lot of energy on work. If not that, possibly on sports, on some other activities that they choose to do on the daily basis. They will feel that their energy is inexhaustible. Some will be very critical of themselves and others, and will want to do everything quickly with a lot of details. They will pay a lot of attention on many details, which is of course not possible. If you want to pay a lot of attention on details, then you cannot be too fast. So now for Scorpio people, it is important to have pure intentions and not to be too obsessed with details, or maybe not to be afraid of details. Sagittarius. For them, this is the era of the fifth house, and it can be that their children will ask them to get involved somehow in their life, or maybe Sagittarius will be those who will save children of the world from that what is happening now. Many will feel that this is the time to express themselves creatively in a new way, or maybe to become leaders. With this aspect, they may want to make a lot of money quickly, maybe not all of the Sagittarius, but some, because the fifth house is also the gambling house. And that can be, they can make quickly a lot of money if they are brave enough and fast enough, let's say. If this energy is understood in a static way, this can bring frustrations, because with this, one can feel that others do not listen to him and do not admire him or her as he or she wants. Dynamically understood, this energy gives generosity, so one should be generous to others and to himself or herself. For Capricorns, this is an era of home, family, and real estate, also the past and many other things. So they may be able to do something quickly now and decisively. Of course, they should take care to be gentle with other members of family, because Mars in the fourth house does not feel really well, can be very harsh to others who live with with Capricorn. If they want to move now, it will be very fast and very efficient, that moving of the house. And this is, of course, the opportunity to learn how to create some source of inner security, because the fourth house is about that, inner or emotional security. And they can create this emotional security by working for family, or maybe by buying or selling real estate. Then after that, they will feel stable. Pardon. Aquarius have the active era of the third field. Mars feels good here. Either Aquarius people will move a lot around, maybe travel some very short distance travel, or just going around all the time and doing something, or they will maybe do sports, or will invest a lot of energy in communication or in writing. It is not necessary here to intensively solve trivial things, which the third house is about. So all the time some triviality with others and a lot of energy spending on that. It is much better to have a slightly broader vision of reality and to listen what others have to say and to choose to say or to deal with the things that are truthful and important. Pisces have the planets in the second field. With Mars there, the rule is it is quickly earned and quickly lost. But Jupiter can help businesses and finances go well here. And Pisces can gain something that will make them very happy. But some will have a fear of loss, especially with Mars there, and a sense of frustration that they do not know what and how to invest energy or money in. They will not know what to do to create some sort of benefits from themselves. Dynamically understood, this energy enables a person to engage or invest money and energy in that what he recognizes and as valuable. So once who achieve this will be very satisfied. And now let's say something about Saturn. Saturn has been retrograde since June, or will be, I don't know when will you see this video, since June the 5th, which will stop its activity. And that will be now the time to integrate what we have experienced from October 2021 until now. So Saturn was doing something from October until June. And after that, the integration of that what happened is coming. As we know, the events in Ukraine have removed the disease. Attention is turned to other side, but fear is still used as a means of manipulation. Saturn is now slowly stopping from our earthly perspective, and from June 23rd we will feel more than before in June that something is really changing. From the end of June and at the beginning of July, negotiations will begin at the highest level, and we can again expect a gathering of world leaders, or maybe 2 important or 3 important leaders will meet, who will decide about the division of the world. Potentially important negotiations could take place in July when the current dust settles. We talk a lot about Saturn in Aquarius and about aspect of Uranus, with the square of Uranus. There are many of my videos on YouTube about this. You can check that, but we know that Saturn in Aquarius teaches us through restrictions what true freedom is. However, if you have seen the videos from Shanghai, which people should, you will say that freedom is very, very far away. We will see what will happen in the future. Do they prepare to the same model as in Shanghai, so to imprison people in the same way, or not? It is true that something different is happening in each country in the world almost, and they also have different plans for different social groups, which is also a frightening thing. For example, in Australia, a law was suggested to prevent people from producing their own food. They are now talking about that. Can you imagine it? What that can mean for the future. In Italy and Austria, a system of social scoring is being introduced, as in China. Not like they're saying now it's free. If you want to use it, you use it. If you don't, you don't, you know. In Serbia, social cards are introduced, which should further on lead to confiscation of personal property. So they're preparing to do something that was done in the communist time before. If human consciousness does not want to know the truth about what is happening in the world, they really can do what they want. Those who are doing it, I'm not going to mention who that is. So they will slowly, as before, take away part by part of the world, one by one human soul, one child at a time, until they take everything and carry out total destruction, which is obviously their plan. And one should know that they will never stop on their own. They will go to the end of the destruction of people on this planet, and finally they will go into the process of the self-destruction. And all that is happening because now we as people on this earth, we have very active these programs of self-destruction. We are getting now closer to that because the autumn of the 2022 is going to be very, very dangerous time. We will talk about that in some video. And now the question is, do we still need them? This is the key question that people should ask themselves. History will remember the year 2020 as the year of the so-called disease, but astrologically it was the year of the end of previous world order. Saturn is the ruler of Pluto in the current transit of Pluto. And in 2020, Saturn and Pluto made a conjunction in Capricorn. There were also other aspects at that time that symbolizes the end of something big, but I'm talking about this now. There are many my videos on YouTube about those big conjunctions in 2020. And there is one video that I recorded at the end of the 2019. It is called Conjunction of Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn 2020, a moment in time. So please check that video to see what we were talking about, and you will understand that that was really the year of the end. Saturn is the planet of limitations, karma, and that is the shadow in Jungian psychology. It is part of the unconsciousness, whether collective or individual. and it is an obstacle to higher spiritual development and self-realization. We can't go further if we do not understand first that obstacle. Although Saturn represents time, we learn from ancient mythology that he himself does not accept time and time constraints. So although it is clear that the end is over, the old, very powerful people are still here, and they will be here until the collective realizes that collective is limited by them, and until collective understands that those people are preventing the collective from the further development which is necessary. So they're still manipulating and others are waiting for their orders, but that does not make any sense anymore. The only planet that can destroy Saturn is Neptune. Be aware, please, we talk often here about positive and negative effects of Saturn and Neptune. Now I'm talking about positive side of Neptune. So you would say, why is it so? Why it's only Neptune? Because it is so, it cannot be otherwise. Saturn is a rock, Neptune is a sea. The sea, although very soft and gentle, breaks down stone that is hard and unbreakable. In the field of spiritual astrology, Saturn is karma and limitation. Neptune is spiritual life, faith in God and higher meaning. Neptune says, surrender, and everything will be as it should be. Just trust. And Saturn says, you should close yourself within your walls or a hall and mumble there that's what I say to you, because outside of those walls is your enemy. And Saturn also says you can rob your enemy, but you must not listen to him. He will seduce you and do things like blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. The story goes on and on. Saturn teaches people how to be afraid of others and gives politicians money to buy people. And that's all of those things are Saturnian. So today, those who speak in Davos or wherever, that they want to create open society, they are always, remember, always closed society. They want to close the society, but they speak opposite, because we live in perverted world where everything is opposite from that as it really is. So they are the children of Saturn, not of the Sun. We are the children of the Sun. We who are generous, who have open soul. And there is something quite the opposite, something that closes people and punishes people. And they always do that with a cynical smile. Remember, this is their symbol, cynical smile. These are kids of the Saturn. And it lasts for so long that it's even getting boring. So when we say Saturn here, it's good to know, we mean we talk about the archetype that is in us and outside of us. It is not just that planet. Oh, that planet is doing it. No, no, no. This energy is in us and it's around us. Saturn symbolizes it. It is very dangerous to submit to Saturn. We can only listen to him, have a dialogue with him, and think of him as a teacher, maybe a very cruel one, that is teaching us through difficult challenges and setbacks. That's only what we can do with this. So our shadow, and is at this time, are actually those crazy people who are destroying us. Why do people listen to their orders and news? Let's try to answer to that again. Because those people who listen to them they do not know themselves well, and they do not trust themselves. Their inner core is not strong enough, because that inner core can be strong only when the power of spirit strengthens it. Money does not help here. But the truth is slowly re-emerging. So let's hope that this inner power many people will gain actually in the future. The year 2020 was the year of the conjunction of Jupiter and Pluto also, and that brought a huge money to somebody. Through that so-called disease, they made a lot of money. They don't even hide it. They say how much money they made. The whole agenda and the bandits from Davos in Switzerland implemented the institution which is like marked as the health institution, which serves them to generate money only. Not only, there are many other things, but mainly, let's say. And what they did until now, I can tell it's just their military exercise, because they're preparing for much worse things. Many ask why every disease is now virus. Well, it is virus because that's the part of agenda. Happy thing is, or lucky thing is, that they did not succeed in everything what they planned. They have already once announced that disease with 30% of mortality is coming, but they did not implement it. And we will see if they will be successful now. Perhaps not really, but I'm not really sure. Astrologically speaking, as I said a few times, the biggest house is coming in October and November of the 2022. And now in June 21st, it is going to be the summer solstice. In Serbia, we call this Vidovdan. This is the day when people see. Vidovdan was celebrated in the past 10 to 15 days. And it was most probably the biggest holiday in Serbia and for all of Slavs. It was part of the old Slavic religion. It was most probably the highest date in Slavic religion also. And similar deities are in almost all of the nations of the world. The summer solstice is also celebrated by all of the nations, and it's an extraordinary event. When the day is long and the sun is very visible, nothing can be hidden anymore. So we know from mythology that solar deities know and see everything, and that they constantly reveal secrets of lovers, of those who like do some dirty business and these kind of things. Always when the sun passes, the truth is coming, and everybody knows it. That Vidovdan, as we call it in Serbia, brings joy and brings liberation, because truth also wants us to see it. Truth frees us from fear and strengthens the spirit and makes a person fulfilled. So you yourself know that you used to carry, maybe sometimes, some secret, and when you reveal that secret, you felt much easier. And you even maybe laughed with others and wondered why you didn't do this before, because you would feel much lighter. So we also do not see just with our eyes. We also see with our inner eye and also with our heart. We can see in different ways. So that if we can see in different ways, mean we can see things that are hidden from us. Chinese say, they have a proverb, and they say, 我心里知道, which means I see with my heart. So let's pray that the truth, it will be so visible that everyone will see it. Jupiter in Aries will also help that. The stronger the light will be, the weaker the shadow will be. When the sun is strong in us or in the sky, the spirit opens and knows The spirit simply knows everything, does not have to study it or does not have to learn things from the news. It just knows everything. Things come naturally. So let's hope it will be like that. That is all for now that I wanted to tell you about June of the year 2022. You will find all of the links and contacts under this video on YouTube and recommended videos also. I use other platforms, not just YouTube, but this is only the supplement for me because still I'm on YouTube channel and this is still the most popular channel, but censorship is growing. So if you want to be in contact, just follow my pages, Symbolic Thinking web pages, because if any change happen on YouTube, I will inform people about that through my website. Feel also free to schedule personal consultations with me. All information you will find on that website, symbolicthinking.net. But if you want to talk with me, to order consultations, please pay attention to that I'm dealing with personal development, astrological psychology, and spiritual astrology. I do not tell to people what will happen to them because I believe that everyone can be realized in many ways, which means that everything depends on our level of consciousness and self-awareness. If you like this video, please like it, sign up to my channel, and thank you very, very much for that in advance. I wish you happiness and joy. I wish you to see with your heart, and may life flourish on earth.